Welcome back to the show. I had a brief discussion with Cirque via Twitter and asked him to clean up the dodgy names on his guns, and he apologized and said he bought it like that and he has removed it. So awesome stuff and good performance today. Look forward to more from you. But now it is time for Brazilian Counter-Strike. It is a domestic matchup. And what a lineup this is on Immortals. Horvey, Bolts, Destiny, Zach, the coach, and Steel. I really hope Bolts and Steel find themselves some stability with a new lineup because they've been playing so well for Immortals. Look at that double peek from SK. Maybe they have some expectation. If they did, then they were correct. Fallen continues with a smoke and a flashbang. He's got matching Glock and gloves. Nice stuff over there. Infamous butterfly knife, often seen with his AWP. Now there are two men for Immortals looking towards the squeaky door. From the car position, you cannot hear the squeaky door open. And they've made their entrance. And with his smoke, if he can put a late smoke between that box and the wall, it's going to make it a lot harder for the CTs to retake. It's more important on a buy round. And there down goes the smoke. And then they can play close to the smoke and spam with the Glocks. On buy rounds, it is so good to have a smoke there post-plan. Used to see it a lot with TSM era Semphis teams. Really smart stuff from SK. I'm loving life right now because that was absolutely brilliant. Great stuff from SK. Showing presence towards B. Maybe if they got picks towards B, they'd go towards B. But ultimately, they head towards A. And you can see the difficulty that that smoke causes. Here's some trivia for you. I would always mention, back when you would have teams like Team Liquid play on the CT side, and they would abandon A and put people towards car, I always said that you can't hear squeaky open. So if you have a reasonable expectation that the CT is going to set up like that, then just bundle through the squeaky door. And then Fallen actually had that commentary and did that at... I think at a major, when Olofmeister unfortunately flanked them immediately through the mid-area, and then Anders was commentating and going absolutely bananas. That was barred off pistol rounds.
I asked him about that though, Fallen, and he denied that it came from you.
He told me himself that he did that.
Maybe he just has a worse memory than me.
Then maybe he does, yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah.
So what do we make of this situation? CZs are really strong. And so I feel like whenever you see the mountain force like this, you just have to be afraid. Like, I'm just afraid right now. I feel fear. When I see that, I feel fear, Jake.
With good reason, Dan.
I mean, look at this.
With good reason. Just imagine if there was a second kill there. There are more.
Yeah, you killed a guy with CZ.
That's a great flashbang to move in. That is a really nice flashbang. SK with some nice detail to their rounds. This won't be a biased broadcast, of course, but... I do admire good things happening. And you don't see that flashbang very often when people push into the bomb site. A nice pop flash taco with a very obscure angle, but he has lost an AK for his team. So we'll have to focus on Immortals and try not to be unfair to the side should things not go their way, bearing in mind how this current roster has come about and the amount of time they've been together. Very unfortunate for Bolts and Steel.
I feel for SK though, this is the kind of matchup where you're like, okay, we're playing against a team that they're at best going to be playing from a playbook of pickup strategies, in a sense, because they've just haven't really played any games together really. So you have that situation, and in that situation, SK should just be able to crush them. That should be, on paper, what happens, because you have the organized, routines, disciplined team that is better on paper and historically and all this kind of stuff. And they just should be able to, smoothly win rounds.
SK, I would say, are one of the best prepared teams for such a scenario as you just described. Because of their attention to detail, because of their focus and their minimal mistakes. Of course, they have struggled with some results recently, but they still have the brains and the aims. If I was a rapper, that would be perfectly fine. I'm going with it.
I think that's that result yesterday that we have to sort of just whenever it was, we sort of have to just let that be the anomaly, right? And just say, just don't factor it in just yet. It's a statistic, and you don't want to draw too much meaning from that statistic. You want to instead see if there is a trend in these statistics.
Yeah, in a league with 18 matches, it is probably the best place to have a horrible game.
Yeah,
a horrible one, best of one. So don't need to take too much stock into it.
It is actually very interesting because you expect SK to make top 4, and it's a result like that where you drop a map to, let's say, you know, any of the other top 4 teams, like let's say, you know, a Cloud9 or a Liquid, for example. It's fair to say that it's unlikely they would ever have dropped maps like on paper against those teams. Let's say they don't end up ever dropping maps against Ghost. Then there's this like really significant edge and more pressure on SK, because SK will have to defeat or have a better result against, you know, opponents that you know, the likes of Cloud9 and Liquid would actually drop a map too. So it does actually put them behind there, potentially in the grand scheme of things. So we'll have to see how that does play out and whether it's damaging to them in the long term. And that's basically the most exciting part of the league. It's like when you really get to that last week or two, and you really see how how much the matches start to mean, and it starts to give so much more context to matches like that Ghost game, which in isolation doesn't look like a big deal, but it could have been. Anyway, it is buy time for Immortals, and they don't really have a huge amount to save for themselves, and there's no AWP either, so that's always a sad situation to be in.
Immortals playing from deep in the B bomb site with 2 players. Passive towards mid, 2 players on highway. Got limited utility, but they've still got their smokes and so on. Some nice jump peeking from Destiny. They've got smokes down towards quad. Now, with his smoke, he seems to be lining it up to smoke main. However, with that positioning, if he sees grenades start to fly in towards A, then he can re-smoke quad to make his life easier. But no, he's going to go for the main smoke. So he's not convinced. He's not convinced as to SK's intentions. And it seems a mid-take may be coming in. 50 seconds here for the T side. Destiny wanting to close the door behind him for some reason. And that hesitation will help Taco pick him off. So now the play comes in towards the A site. The split, if it is going to be a split, still waiting. There it is. Phelps making his way towards short.
It's a great position. His teammates ready to cause distraction, and his teammates will sort of push Zach into a poor position, and then of course is able to be taken down by the likes of Phelps and Fuller. So really nice timing on the split from SK. Quick flash to Car from Phelps. And now he will go to investigate. And he will find nothing but the last 2 remaining players. Oh, that's a cheeky bullet there on the spray for the second kill. Still, I don't think he can accomplish much more from this position, though. And he will realize this, not trying to bite off more than he can chew. He will back away.
That was a really nice execute in terms of timing from SK, because they apply pressure to main. If there are people in the mid area, they're giving them a lot of reason to go and help their players towards the A site before they show people in mid. And then Phelps positions himself on highway, so as the push comes in on main, he cuts out half the places the CTs can hide. CT backs up from default and gets killed by Phelps in the middle area. So it's very clear their intentions in that round, in that execute, which is pretty cool. And Immortals are back onto pistols. So going back to Optics match, Freiburg and Alu tweeted exactly the same tweet.
Oh, really?
2-0 versus NRG in ECS League. Shaky games, but a win is a win. Good mental fortitude on Inferno to come back. GG, WP, Greenwall. Hashtag.
That's really long.
Literally, but it's literally the same tweet.
That's really long.
It's the same.
Someone must be writing their tweets, James.
That's bizarre. Maybe they are the same person.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Maybe Alu is Freiburg, and Freiburg is Alu.
So cleaning up the eco from Immortals. SK trying to propel themselves to that 5th round. And they're looking pretty good. Still trying to save this M4 of his. There's not too much really going on right now, except that you, as SK, just want to apply some good basics. Don't want to get caught out, don't want to spread out too much. They've got some good map control. They can just go together with the numbers and guarantee a win on the site. But you can see they're trying to take as much detail as possible to how they clear everything, making sure that they don't get complacent. And now, Steel, the most dangerous player, has been spotted. He'll be taken down, and they'll be happily able to plant on A.
Is Bolts' avatar, is that a spear or an arrow? What do you think?
I'd say a spear. Because it looks like a Roman sort of like centurion type deal, so I'd imagine a spear, but the spear does look a bit small.
A bit arrow-esque, right?
It looks like...
It is a small spear, isn't it?
It looks like... Yeah, a miniature spear. Maybe they ran out of spears. Gave him the the prototype.
I almost want to say arrow, but I feel like if someone was going to draw an arrow there, you would see whatever the thing is that holds the arrows, whatever it's called. Because
quiver.
It is a small spear. I don't know. Let us know what you think. Is it a spear? Is it an arrow? I doubt Bolts knows. He's got a good spawn though, and he's heading towards the A site. Will it be a squeaky play? I think he'd go to the left of this box if it was. Will a teammate flash for him? The smoke is down. He'll try to move behind it. Early grenades in case of some aggression, but they will completely abandon main after throwing that grenade. Bolts, will he move down? He's by the lockers at present, and that will allow Immortals to put a second person closer towards mid. And it seems he may come in for a flank. Oh, Destiny didn't need to go down there. 2 players down very, very early, so Bolts' flank will be a lot weaker now. We'll take that 1 kill and run away. He'll be heard retreating by the players on the boost position. 4 versus 3, and SK slowed around down.
The thing is, I mean, SK used to have the reputation to be the team that played the man advantage situation perfectly on the T side, like the team that was most consistent at doing that, because the CTs have so many problems, and it's quite easy for you to read their dilemmas and understand what their sort of stock responses to those dilemmas would be, and then you play against that. And so that's like one easy dynamic that SK are very good at. The other dynamic they're good at is just doing this, going together, and just playing the numbers in a good way. But Bolts is just going absolutely huge there from the car position. That's brilliant work off of the M4, and they were clearly not expecting that. Wow, that's big damage. That changes everything. Fallen's alone on the site now, and Cold is far away. Oh wow, what a position.
Is he going to go for 2 kills? Let's see. Oh, Coldzera is Coldzera. Does he need further descriptive words? He's simply Coldzera. And now he's simply shot in the face. That's why we go for it. He doesn't have a kit. Maybe there's one lying around. There is right in front of him. He's got rifles there if he wants them. He's got a flashbang as well. But he will continue with the AWP. And I don't know if he's really committing to this defuse. Fallen is simply hiding. Doesn't need to face. He can hear the bomb from there if they try to defuse it. But he won't.
What I liked about Cold's play there as well is if you consider how he handled the fight, he gets the information first, but then he kills the player that was available, but then just holds his position because he realizes that the other player is going to have to deal with him at some point, and most likely now. And even if he doesn't, even if this player doesn't come back, it doesn't matter so much. Cold can take his time, but if Cold is to overpeak and the player's just waiting for him on the angle, then Cold has a disadvantage. So he sort of just plays that absolutely perfectly. Like everything is a decision, whether it's wait, go, where you put your crosshair, all these things. And Cold is a good player to study in that sense, of course.
I love how in many of these rounds, SK are not giving sound cues away if they can help it. Almost a second kill for Horby there. See if Coldzera can find something from this gap. Immortals reading that with the AWP announced towards B, there may be a play towards A, so Zach will rotate over there, but the AWP is still towards the B bomb site. Cold has somebody advancing on his position, and his scope will not allow him to see that, but Horby is taken down. You see Steele's on the box around the corner, And he's pulling a player away from the mid area. There's presence from 2, but Steel with a wide peek. Great timing from him, and that allows him to get information. He can collect a weapon, he can stay in the sunroom and just hold a line if he wants to. Zach rotating. So it's getting weird now. Steel's the only man with a rifle for the CT side, but it is a 3-on-3, and the time is running out for SK.
Certainly is. Fer makes his way up short, though. He can be the guy to initiate play for his team. Turning the angle, nice snap, but the timing works out for Destiny, peeking, catching Fer. But his position has been spotted, I think. Looks like they know about this. The CZ's dangerous. Destiny trying to play the angle, but he can't make it work. And now it's down to Steel. Good Molotov, but it's a little bit too slow. Did it miss? Oh, it does get the connection regardless. It did miss.
It was a terrible Molotov then.
It was a terrible Molotov. And he will die. I mean, it would have been a good Molotov had it actually not missed, but...
it may have actually won them the round.
Yeah. against Immortals, a team that is kind of right now a mixed team, just because they have 3 players playing that aren't in the Immortals or weren't in the Immortals roster for the last, however many months. So there's only so much they can do.
Someone said, everyone in Optic copy each other's tweet. Splice also do it. It's a meme. Okay.
Oh, it's a meme, is it?
Memers.
Yeah. The world is ruined by memes, James. Oh, Seal in the vents here. Not wanting to give away the position, or give up the position, sorry. And SK going so many players in door. That is a lot of fun, isn't it? Just 3 through door. Cold0 going through main. A bolt. He's going to be able to defend this. Pete comes in. And the trade is there, but so much damage was done, and they took so much time to traverse that little space that Destiny gets in there for a double. Can't do much more, though, as the trade's there, and it's cold in a 1 versus 3. He's got a minute to play with, but this is not going to be easy.
It is cold, though. Cold0. Going to venture into the squeaky door. And he takes 1 down without taking any damage whatsoever. And the squeaky door is where he will remain. The smoke, though, that's a big problem. But he's got a Molotov. Oh, it hasn't worked out for him. He's still going to try and run all the way around. And he's far away enough that they won't hear him. But Horvey has cover, so there's only so much Cold can do. Going for the hero play, but he doesn't have the correct angle. Or if he does, Horvey has much cover. And he will try to do what he can. Horvey holding a line, and he's going to get absolutely popped at the end. And Immortals don't have the money. Look at their cash. They won the round, and they can't buy, basically. Obviously, they have to. But Horvey did not need to hold that angle. Considering how many rounds SK have won in a row, there is no reason for him to peek main after defusing the bomb. There is nothing to gain. Or very little. So despite winning the round, Immortals will have a vastly inferior buy.
Well, it's going to be difficult to get in against SK, it seems, or get any rounds on the board. I do wonder if it'll be easier or harder for Immortals on the T side. Like, how do you think what would make sense? Do you reckon?
I think it can be easier on the CT side because you simply, you play your positions. Communication is important and rotating to support players, but I think the T side may be more complicated. We will see. It may depend on the players as well. But I mean, there may be a preference for the CT side, although maybe not necessarily on cash, because it is a very difficult site, a difficult map on the CT side compared to some others.
It is, yeah. That's what makes it obscure for me. Because also, if you throw into the mix you're playing against SK are going to be able to sort of pick you apart, pick your CT side apart, and if you don't have a lot of plays and setups and various routine digressions and so on, and default protocols and reactions, all these basics, it's going to be hard to do much. That's a nice little kill there through the smoke. Good grenade to follow up as well. SK taking damage moving into the bomb site, and they may very well get the bomb planted, although it does look difficult. And in fact, not even likely at this point. Bolts is putting up a good defense, and now there's just no time, so Immortals will just win by time there for willing to stand in the open and tap away, but they've got money for days, so not going to be worried about that. 10-3 the score now for Immortals, or 3-10 I should say, as they pick up one. But they need to essentially keep playing against buys. That said, only 2 players for SK have a lot of money, but of course this is the penultimate round of the first half.
Good start for SK. Bomb's been left in T-spawn. Common problem for those at home, I'm sure. Bomb must be retrieved. Everybody drops the bomb in spawn no matter what. It must be thrown to someone else. Which is always annoying. If you have the forward spawn for an early pick and someone throws you the bomb, forces you to slow down to dispose of it. Not because of the bomb. The bomb, you still run as fast with the bomb as with the knife in your hands, but when you drop the bomb, your primary comes out and you slow down. So do not throw the bomb to the person with the most forward spawn, because you may be handicapping your team by doing that. Immortals being handicapped by the guns of SK. Having taken 2 players away. There is Cold Zero from the back. Horvey knows nothing about it until it's too late. 5 versus 2. SK still not giving any edges to Immortals, not charging into a site, being careful and meticulous.
Which player do you think is the best to learn from on SK?
I can't answer that question purely because I have not watched all of them. I've not watched enough demos of all of them to comment fairly on that. I've watched Fallen because I love AWPing, but yeah, I couldn't answer a question because I need to watch more demos of that team specifically.
We can speculate.
Yeah, but I don't. That's not me. That's not what I do. What about you?
I think Cold probably. Cold might be there for me.
Why?
Just because he has, like, if you just look at his consistency as a player, that consistency is not just because he's mechanically great. It's because of the way that he the way that he looks at the game, the way that he takes decisions, how he moves, like his timings, how he holds angles, like there's, how he plays certain setups. So there's just like everything about the way that he makes decisions. I think you would want to learn his ethos, because his ethos is not based on being super ridiculously mechanically gifted.
Yeah, that's a very reasonable argument.
Like, for example, I would say the opposite, like a player like Simple would be better these days, but in the past, I would definitely have said that he'd be like the worst player to watch for trying to improve your own game, because he's so based around instinct, which is amazing for him, of course, but it doesn't make him the best player to watch, because it's hard to see that. It's not as consistent. It's not as consistent.
I think there are 2 perspectives as well when you're looking at a good player to learn from. One is obviously just general decision making, obviously.
Yeah.
The second one, I would say, depends on who you are as a player and what roles you think suit you the best, or what you can best manage if you're still learning the game, for example. So if you are playing a B site on a CT side, then it may be a player who's relevant to what you are best at the moment. So,
yeah.
Or maybe a combination of the 2. So this is an important round for Immortals. They are spread across the entire map. Seems they're just looking for any action from SK. But SK are waiting. 2-1-2 set up from the CT side. And they wait. Fallen's got 2 flashbangs, however. But he is in mid. He has no one to flash for. If there's a push towards A, he could flash behind their heads, but he would have to hope that no one shot him from mid.
And here they go. It's time. It is time. Smoke for Toxic. And now they go into the bomb site. Nice first pops from Furt. That's 2. Will he make it any more? No. Immortals with a response, but there's still plenty more SK players where that came from. Bolts and Steel, the last 2. Now just Bolts. Can't even get onto the side. He will be able to take down Taco though, but has to reclaim the bomb. It's going to be quite the gauntlet to run against Fallen and Cold. And there it is. Cold was setting himself up all along. 13-3.
They smoked off the car position and exposed themselves to NBK without looking at NBK. That's rough.
It is rough times if you're Immortals generally, yeah.
I'm really sad that the old team doesn't exist, because I enjoyed watching them play.
Yeah, I mean, with KNG as well, I think they were very stylized, they had their own character, and I felt like it finally got to a kind of a good place.
I respect the organizational decisions in terms of punishments and this can't happen anymore. But I'm still sad.
Oh yeah, of course. I think it's generally lost. It's going to take some time for there to be recovery.
I think for me, like, you know, saying telling someone prove it or I'll kill you on Twitter isn't the best approach. And I think it's more of an issue. It's harder to. I think the biggest problem, other than obviously the saying that, from a managerial point of view, is that how do you, when your sponsors say, so one of your players is threatening to kill somebody, it kind of forces your hand. Because if you can move past that, then I don't mind the bad boy image. I think we need more of that in the game. Maybe not to that extreme, but obviously people can make mistakes, right? But it's the when you consider the sponsors and the people and organisations who pay the bills, then it becomes a larger issue.
Yeah, it is a shame, but these things do happen, and there's not really much you can do about it. That's like, as you say, like everything sort of just happened as it was going to happen, more or less, after the actions were taken as they were. And it will take quite some time to rebuild Immortals. I'm not sure, like, which direction the team will go in now, because again, they had built a specific style around, you know, KNG, Henny, and so on, and it was starting to really work out. This is nice from Phelps. That is some expert UMP play right there. And now we're on match point. SK, on the other hand, you know, their storyline is all about being able to lift trophies again. And, you know, it's not too uncharacteristic that they would be slumping a little bit after a big player break, trying to rediscover that fire and that hunger. And I think taking losses is good for that. But sometimes you don't bounce back. You don't always bounce back. So I think that's the question for SK right now. Are they going to be able to bounce back?
All we can do is just bear witness, Dan. Just bear witness. Let's all sit together and bear witness to the dying rounds of this match. Bolts and Horvey wait for the smoke to dissipate. They have 2 flashbangs and a smoke grenade versus a full equipped SK. The whole team is here. They've got more flashbangs than I've seen in a very long time with 1 minute on the clock. They have no reason to throw them. Or little reason. There may be always a reason when people are alive, but they're barely alive. Horvey has had quite enough. Running towards main. Just firing at walls. Put out of his misery. 16-3.